Today, my guest is Greg Crafter. He is, um, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to edit this out. Greg has his own podcast called Grow with Greg, and you can find it on Spotify. Is it on other places, Greg?
Yeah, it's on all the podcast platforms. Wherever you podcast is out there.
Oh, okay. I listen on Spotify, and Instagram. And so Greg is here to not teach us, to talk to us about gardening, and I'm going to let you tell us more about that. But Greg, how are you today?
I am good, Amy. I
Awesome.
appreciate you wanting to take the time and have a conversation with me.
Heck yeah. I love what you're doing and I want to learn more about it. So you have what's called a grow block. And I don't know a lot about that, but I've seen the great looking produce that you are growing. So what is the grow block?
So the grow block, it is in simple terms just a hydroponic garden. It's a vertical hydroponic garden system. It's fully automated where you can grow your own veggies, herbs, lettuce, fruit, all in one space, one tight little space.
Oh, so, and that's something that I'm pretty new to. I don't practice it myself, but I'm really interested in getting into it. Is like vertical gardening, like using the space that we have, which is super handy for a lot of people who may not have like a huge yard and a big garden and greenhouse and whatever, but it can be done still.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's actually the reason why we came up with the idea, just for people like myself and others that, to your point, want to grow but don't have the space to do it. And it gets pretty frustrating. And that was really the idea behind it.
Cool. And what kind of things are you said veggies and lettuce and herbs and fruit and stuff like that? I mean, what are you growing all of those things? And do you have other things besides the grow block that you offer? Because I know you're selling the grow block and you have like a subscription.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea behind the grow block came from, I've always enjoyed gardening and since a kid. And I live in the city. So in metropolitan Atlanta where I live, there's not a lot of space. You have your yards, but they're not big. It's not suburban type of life or living where you've got acreage and stuff like that. You're on a plot. You're very small space. And I was frustrated with not being able to grow food and uh, garden year round. And I was like, man, what do you do in situations like this? And
Right.
I don't know, Amy, I started researching different growing and gardening methods, and I came upon hydroponics. And what really caught my attention was the fact that not only can you grow hydroponically year round, you can do it in a very small space. And after I learned that, I was hooked. I was like, man, I've got to figure this out. I've got to learn and learn more about it. And that's exactly what I did. And I don't know, 8, 9 years later, here I am.
I love that so much. So you had a problem and you researched and you fixed it. Like you figured it out. That's awesome. And so how much space are you gardening with right now? Because you're still in the city.
I am in the city. So we also operate an indoor hydroponic farm. So our farm is in a warehouse. It's about a 2,400 square foot farm. So everything that we grow inside of the farm is what we grow for all of our users to use inside their grow block. So we're growing lettuce greens, different vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, things like that, different types of herbs. Everything that we grow in the farm is what you can actually grow inside your grow block.
That's cool. So are you doing like seeds right now to sell to people, or you're just growing to sell produce?
Yeah, so we started out, I don't know, let me see, probably about in 2019, I was I was selling fresh herbs to local restaurants here in Atlanta. And the fact that it was local, it was fresh, I heard the stories that people everything is imported, and by the time they get their food or herbs, one, the nutritional value isn't there, and two, it wasn't healthy. It's been harvested for weeks and upon weeks, and by the time that they get it, you're having to toss half of what you buy, you're wasting money, and
Right.
then,
And it doesn't even
the
taste good.
taste. That's right, the taste or quality isn't there.
Right.
And we figured out, well, hey, look, how can we provide local to you with our product? And we just gave it away for a long time, and people was like, great, you're
Okay.
on to something. You're really on to something. That's how we started. And then COVID hit, and it was like, all right, everything shut down.
Right.
And from there, it was like, all right, we've got all of this produce. What do we do with it? And so we gave a bunch away, but then we started doing home deliveries because everybody was at home. So now it's all right, gardening and backyard garden and indoor gardening, and everybody was doing that. But for me, I was like, that's still not good enough because it's temporary. It's not solving a problem. How can I take everything that we're doing in the farm and make it to where people can do it at home? And so that's where the grow block came. The idea for the grow block is replicate everything that we're doing in the farm and put it in a very small space inside someone's house so they could do the same thing.
Right. Oh gosh. It's like in the in like the Bible where it says, teach, bring a man to, or however it even goes, you or bring a horse to the water, or and help it drink, or can you
Yeah.
help me?
Teach, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, and he'll
Yeah.
eat forever. That, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that exactly. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, it's there's no reason why people can't do it. They just need that encouragement and the right tools. So I
Yeah.
I love that you're able to teach people about that and share that love of fresh produce. I mean, the pandemic really, there were really bad things about it, of course, but then there was also, these huge blessings of like appreciating what's local because it wasn't coming in on a truck, and the grocery stores were empty, and um, but you still had work because you were growing already.
Yeah. Yeah. It was we were I won't lie, it was a tough period, but like most people, it was tough for everybody. We all had to figure out and change aspects of our lives. So we were able to do that. And, I'm the type person that if I can help and if I can share what I'm doing that benefits someone else, then I'm all in. That's the motivation that I have about growing food and growing healthy food and nutritional food. I feed my family. That why can't someone in my neighborhood or my family or someone down the street or anywhere, why can't they do the same?
Right. Right. And it's it's a beautiful cycle. It really is. I mean, I just think that it's so important for me that people understand where their food comes from, because picking it out of the bins at the grocery store is just, it's not the same thing. I mean, I have a jam business, and I pick the strawberries for the strawberry jams, and I have that quality control. I can make sure that all of those berries are
Yeah,
good, and if you're buying it from the grocery store, it's not the same taste at all.
that's
And
true. You're
so,
right.
but like, the fresh vegetables, they're so crisp and they're so juicy and so sweet, and They're just so, it's like an explosion in your mouth, and you get to provide that for people. Really. And it's so colorful and so pretty.
Yeah, that's the exciting part, of my job that I really enjoy, to see others, really get that effect, understand. It's like, oh wow, that kind of taste, and wow, you mean to tell me the flavor is there, and then as a bonus I get the nutritional value from it as well. That does it for me. I'm good after that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. So you said that you grew up gardening. So is it just with your family? Like you just, everyone just
Yeah.
gardened? Is that, and you just kept it? You held on to that? There are a lot of people that are like, yeah, I can get it somewhere else. I'm too busy.
Yeah,
Or
as a kid, I remember the story of my mom, taking me with her in the backyard to garden, and she was like, "All right, you've got these seeds, and I want you to put a seed in the ground every couple of steps, put another seed in the ground every couple of steps, cover it up." And I wasn't the best listener, as a kid. So I took all the seeds and I put them in one hole, just kind of put them all of them and covered it up right there. Amy, I lie to you not, if it was a couple of days or a week later, to see those seeds sprout into live plants or something green, it blew me away. It just completely blew my mind. And from there, I was hooked. I was like, man, to see life form in this way, it was just, I couldn't explain it. And I've always, from that point, I've always wanted to grow something.
it's so exciting when they start to come out of the ground and you're like, oh, I did that. It's so
Right.
cool. I actually just started some seeds in my house on, I want to say Sunday. Might have been Monday, but they're already starting to come out. Like it's so
Yeah.
exciting. And I hope that they'll make it because there's still 2 feet of snow on the ground in my house.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Oh,
So
wow.
we have to wait until the snow melts and the ground unfree, thaws out. But
So are you growing, you're starting your seedlings inside or? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, they're right beside my desk. There's a sunny window right there. But
Cool.
I'm hoping. Like I always tend to start early because I just, this time of year we have the spring fever. Spring is in what, four
Right.
days? But there's
Right.
still 2 feet of snow on the ground, but we need that, like the green, the fresh. We need some hope of springtime. So
Right. Yeah.
I always start early, and then they get tall, and then they get leggy, and then when I put them in the ground, they just kick off, and it's always a bummer, but I can't help myself.
We're all that way. We all do it.
Whew. But so okay, so you grew up gardening, and then did you do other jobs, or did you always say this is what I want to do? I want to make this happen all the time.
Yeah, no, it was more of a pastime or a hobby or something for gardening. I always enjoyed it. I mean, I did other stuff, but I always found myself coming back to gardening, being outside in some capacity, growing something, plants in the house, gardening outdoors. I just enjoyed it. I love being outside, and it's always been a part of me. But it got to a point where my wife, she was like, okay, so you're spending more time outside than inside with the rest of the family. Is there something you want to talk about? Something
Something you want to tell me?
right, right. And it was, I didn't realize that, but when she said that, I was like, man, I really love being outdoors and gardening. And from that point, she was like, well, you should really pursue this in terms of something, because it's your passion. You should look into how can you create a business from it, or commercialize it or monetize it or something. And I don't know, Amy, from that conversation, it was almost, I got my okay to just really explore what my passion was.
She gave you permission to
She did.
to do that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Good for
she's
her.
good.
Good for you. Good choice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You did a
yeah,
good
yeah.
job choosing her. Or the other way
Yeah, she's.
around. Somebody won. Hopefully it was both of
Oh,
you.
I won. There's no question about it. Hands down, I won. I won. May not have deserved it, but hey, I still won.
Not going to argue. Yeah, for sure. And so, all right. So you are gardening. You've got a big warehouse. How did that happen? Did you just, I mean, how long have you been, when did you say that you started, it's produced, your,
Produce. Yeah, in 2019, I started produce. Now, here's an interesting story. I started it in my laundry room. My wife, she just gave me a little spot in my laundry room. She was like, all right, here, learn from here. And I just had a Walmart plastic bin, a couple of lights. I think I even got the lights from Walmart, and just started growing in my laundry room. And I was even amazed what I could do in such a small space. I was growing lettuce for dinner and different things. And from there, I went to my backyard. It was like a little small shed in my backyard. And I turned the entire shed into like my lab project. It was like a indoor hydroponic, I don't know, shed. And my neighbors, they were like, "Are you sure that's all you're growing back there?"
what you got in there, Greg? Why are you
And
spending so
I
much
yeah,
time in there?
exactly all types times the night. I mean, it was, it was funny. So I had to invite my neighbors over. See, it really is legal. um, I don't know.
Lettuce.
So I just started giving it away. And from there, my neighbors, friends, and even start, like I was mentioning, giving it to local restaurants. They were all, man, you've got good quality stuff. And I was like, wow, let's do this. And I did.
Awesome. That is so cool. And I love that you were able to start it in a small way and just grow from there. When did you buy a warehouse? Are you renting the warehouse?
I am. Yep.
Yeah.
I lease it. Yep. Yep. 2019. Let me see. We moved in. Yeah, we moved in January of 2019.
You started produce in 2018, and then a year later, you're leasing this humongous space. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, it
incredible.
was, it was, it is incredible. I mean, it was just something that for so long, and the saying, when you work, you really enjoy what you're doing, you're passionate about it. It
It's
doesn't
not
seem
work.
like work. Now it's hard. It's always been hard, but I love it, so it doesn't really seem like work. And here we are. We're still thankfully continuing on, and hopefully soon be ready to scale and grow and do the same thing in other places.
Wow. So are you looking to like franchise or you
Maybe
just want
not.
more space?
Yeah, maybe not franchise, but we do want to stay connected to local communities. We want to show people what we're doing in Atlanta can be replicated in other neighborhoods, other cities, other places where it's like a local ecosystem. It's supported by the community. It's sustained by the community. It's operated by the community. That's my ultimate vision.
Oh my gosh, Greg, that's so awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, just, keep it just I keep saying it, but I have right behind my computer on the wall, I have a sticky note that says community sufficiency. Like not so much
Yeah.
self-sufficiency, but taking care of your community, taking care of each other. And I love that. I love that you're like we're just like in the same mindset sort of.
That's
Um,
right. That's right.
teach your neighbors, help them get started. You can all grow your own, and everyone's eating healthy, so you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel better, you're going to have more abilities to do stuff, and you're saving money because you're
There you go.
it's amazing, and it's not that it's like I don't want to get too far into it, but it's just like it's this like win-win situation, and thank goodness for you to get it started.
It is a win-win situation, and that's how it should be. If you ask my opinion, we all should benefit from each other because that's what community is. To me, that's the definition of community. You know, people with their resources, almost like you're putting it into the pot for the greater good of everybody.
Right.
And so everybody benefits. And I wish a lot more of us had that mindset. But that's part of why we do what we do. We're really passionate about
Sharing the
community and
message.
supporting the community. That's right. So hopefully it'll grow.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me about, I'm curious about your setup. I mean, not necessarily the warehouse, but I mean, are you vertical gardening in this huge warehouse? That's a
Hmm.
humongous space.
Yep.
20,
Yep.
2,400 square feet?
Hmm.
Dang. Um, I can't even imagine. That's like two of my houses. Oh my gosh. Um, but so, all right. So if somebody wants to, I'm just curious what the setup looks like. So you have more than the grow block, right? Because you're selling seedlings. Or
Correct. So yeah, our setups are, we have 8-foot towers, 8 foot tall. They're these tall plastic towers where plants can grow vertically 8 foot tall. And we have them in lineups, and they're lined up all the way down the warehouse. So it's a system, it's a return system where the nutrients get pumped to the top of the towers, the plants are fed inside the towers. There's a return or drain system at the bottom of the tower that catch the excess nutrient that gets returned to a reservoir where all the lineups, return the nutrients, and then on a timer the cycle repeats itself. So we're able to really grow a lot of plants in a very small space. That's At the time, that's how we were doing a lot of wholesale to restaurants. We were able to grow and harvest, I don't know, 70 to 80 pounds a week. And we were just doing basil.
oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah, just basil.
just basil, 80 pounds
Yeah,
of basil a week. Holy
yeah,
moly, that's
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
pants.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's essentially our setup. And the grow block is identical to that same system. Hydroponics normally, well, I'll say it this way, there's 4 or 5 or 6 different hydroponic methods, but they all have the same structure where nutrients are pumped to the root system of the plants. That's how the plants are fed, and that's how they grow. And from there, it's just repeated.
Okay. So I have to ask, Greg, you're in Atlanta. Do you still love your job in the summer when it's 100 degrees and humid?
I do. It's hotter for sure.
How do the
My role,
plants do?
the plants do good. It's climate control for the
Okay.
most part. We have fans and we have air conditions that we use to make sure the temperatures and the humidity, that's a big part, stays at a certain rate that the plants still can operate. But it
Mm,
is hot. There's no question about it. But we've been able to maintain. We figured it out. I'll say it that way.
that's very cool. Do you grow outside as well, or are you strictly inside?
At the farm, I grow inside only, but at home, I still have a raised bed that I am looking at it right now. That's like, all right, it needs cleaning.
It's not quite spring yet. You've got time. I mean, you can't be, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking, but you you're allowed to do that. You've got a humongous space that you're managing.
Yeah, but it's like therapy, just growing anything is like therapy. So being outside. But yeah, I still grow in dirt. I do.
Yeah.
And that's something I always tell people. I'm like, look, you don't have to do hydroponics. You don't have to do aquaponics, aeroponics. There's traditional gardening is still good. And you made this point earlier. It's about starting small. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't do something, don't jump so far out there to where, you're setting yourself up for failure, or when it doesn't work, it becomes discouraging. That's a mistake that I think a lot of people, including myself, I did that too. But when you start small, those small successes, those are the things that you can, take a win and then grow from and learn from there and continue to take those small successes.
Right. It gives you energy when you have those successes, even if it's small. Like you're energized and you're like, I can look at what I did. I can totally do this. And
That's
then,
right.
as
Yeah.
you get more experience and, you feel more encouraged, you can go a little bit bigger, or you can buy a humongous or, lease a huge warehouse. But
Well,
it's
you don't have
cool.
to do do what makes you comfortable, but I really encourage starting small. Definitely starting small.
Cool. Oh my gosh. So, I would love to see your setup. I've seen it on Instagram, but if you would share like a picture of what your setup looks like, I'd love to share that on my social media and just, show people what's going on in Atlanta. But so you have a subscription that I had just noticed, and I'm curious what all is in that.
So our subscription, we call it Grow Box. So
Yes.
you get grow boxes on a monthly basis. It allows you to choose whatever plants we're offering that month. You can pick your plants, and we ship those plants to your home for your grow block system. It comes with our proprietary nutrients that it's our fertilizer for the plants. You get 2 bottles of those, and every month you get to pick your plants. And once you pick them, we ship them, and you continue to grow and harvest. And um, that's our way of sustainability. That's our way of the continual cycle. But we're shipping plants that are a little bit older than seedlings. They're
So they're not quite
within
so fragile.
Exactly. And so the other thing is harvestability, if you will. You're within days, at worst 2 weeks, of actually harvesting food from the plants that we ship. So we want it to be something where people, if it's lettuce, you're within days of harvesting your lettuce, as opposed to, waiting a week after you put a seed in the ground or pod, and then it has a sprout and germinate, and then you got to wait another couple of weeks, make sure it grows. We do all of that for you in the farm. So by the time your grow box comes to you, you put it in your grow block system, and now you're within days of harvest time.
That's awesome. I mean, I know when I'm planting seeds, like lettuce seeds, sometimes they'll say like 52 days or something like that to
Oh
to
yeah.
picking. What do they call it for lettuce? It's not germination
Picking,
because that's when it starts to come out of the ground.
I mean,
Okay.
picking, harvesting,
Yeah,
whatever you want.
harvest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the word
It's
harvestability though. I like that a lot. It's a good word.
I, I don't even know if that's a word.
It is now. I'm buying it. I mean, I totally. I think that's great. Harvestability. But so I love that. That's so cool because like I was saying, 52 days for some lettuces starting in the ground, but you're almost like guaranteeing, 2 weeks to eating this lettuce and salad or something like that. It's 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 more guaranteed than if you grow it yourself in the ground.
Well,
Um,
it's for us, it's again, it's making you feel successful. It's part of a lifestyle change to where, it's exciting now, and then a couple of months down the line, it's less exciting. our goal is to take that away because we want it to be part of a lifestyle change where, hey, what's for salad? I mean, what's for dinner? You just go grab a salad, you pick your leaves. The plant continues to grow after you picked your leaves. You're not wasting any food because you're only going to pick what you're going to eat. It's easy, it's simple. And I even have people that have a grow block, but they still garden outside. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's perfect. We're not replacing traditional gardening. We can't. We can't replace all of the things that you can grow outside. The grow block doesn't grow everything, but it grows a lot of stuff.
Right.
But the deal is, like in your neck of the woods in Maine, there's short growing seasons.
It's true. I know when you were saying that there's a monthly subscription, I was like, not in Maine. It would not work here. There are several months where there's not enough light or warmth, even inside.
Yeah. So we just eliminated that problem. We ship all over the country, and you get your monthly vegetables. You put it, or fruit, or lettuce, or herbs, or whatever. You put it in your grow block and carrying on about your day in life.
That's wild. Oh my gosh. And so I will definitely add this information to the show notes on the podcast, but I'm going to ask you for the website, like how people can check that out and see if that's going to work for them. But first I want to just ask, so I feel like I've got a really good grasp on who you are, Greg, and what your thoughts are going to be. But so I ask everyone who I talk to on the podcast, what does the word sustainability mean to you?
Sustainability, huh? The best way that I can describe it, I would say, life happens to all of us. Life is real. Life is something that, sometimes we know what comes, sometimes we don't know what comes our way. But sustainability, in my eyes, is being able to be resilient in terms of what comes your way and still be able to produce or self-support in some kind of way. And you have to be educated enough in terms of educated on those things that you're being sustainable about. So sustainability in my mind just means being able to self-support or, self-maintain despite what comes your way.
I love that.
I don't know if that made sense, Amy, but that's
100%. 100%. So if if something terrible were to happen, you're still able to function and eat fresh food because you've got this system down. So you are resilient in that you can still eat fresh food.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep.
And I'm sure that it ripples out into other parts of your world, other than just produce. Because I think that you also have a really good head on your shoulders, and I think that you're super generous, and your community would also just thrive. Your community must just thrive with you being part of it, and so being such a support for them. But so if somebody is totally inspired by what you're saying, they want to look into your grow block or grow boxes or learn more about hydroponic gardening, or just follow you on Instagram and watch your cool pictures, how can people find you or follow you?
Well, our website and all of our social media handles are the same. It's Produce for All, Produced ED for All, .com is our website. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Pinterest, TikTok, everything is produced for all.
Ooh.
Um, and the reason we named that, it's part of our mission. We want to be able to educate and make sure that there's an opportunity for everybody to know how they can be sustainable as it relates to growing your own food and eating healthy.
Mm.
That's our mission. It's not an easy one. There's no question about it. It's a lot to unpack in saying that, but this is our part. This is what I'm very I feel extremely passionate about. You know, people and the welfare of people is very near and dear to my heart.
Mm.
And this is our part. This is something that we're set on doing, and we're going to do our part to make sure that happens.
And it's so important. I mean, I know when I think of sustainability, I my mind instantly goes to food. I you can't see me because I'm just in a thing, but I'm a big girl. I like eating. And so my first thought is always food. And, when I'm thinking of, welfare and stuff like that, I'm thinking of the people that need to eat. And so I am a volunteer gardener at a local farm, and
Oh, nice.
we grow produce just to donate it to the food kitchens and the food pantries. So I have that same passion. I don't have the same skills, but I have the same passion. And
You do.
that's
I
where my
mean,
mind goes to.
you do. You have those skills. That's what you're doing. You're helping others. It's, at a farm and what you just described. That's a skill set. Somebody's benefiting from that.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why we need more people with the mindset, Amy. That's what it's all about. And
Right.
I can probably say this on your behalf and know that it's true. You get fulfillment from doing that, knowing that you've helped somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think about if I were in a situation where I did not have, fresh food available, or, food in general, I would want to know that somebody was going to be looking out for me. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's just, I'm very fortunate in that I have space to garden, and I can be a terrible gardener, and I can fall back on my CSA. Um, but I'm so grateful to know you, Greg. I'm so grateful to have this chance to chat with you, and I'm so grateful for what you're doing for the Atlanta area. So I'm going to share all this information, all your contact info on the show notes. And is there anything that I should have asked, or that I didn't touch on, that we didn't talk about, that you would like to share before we close up?
Um, no, I just hope that I was able to share something that, whoever your listeners are, they can really benefit from or be inspired by. I enjoyed our conversation when you were on our podcast, and to me, that's what it's all about. It's not just for us, selling a grow block, and it's about the stories, the people behind the stories.
Absolutely.
It's about all of us. So no, I appreciate you taking time with me to have the conversation.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I think that it's not necessarily about selling anything at all. It's sharing a message and getting to know people. I mean, other than the fact that we have this in common and we just happen to be on Facebook at the same time, like, how else would we have met? Like,
There you go.
I love social media for that. The people that I've met is just insane. But yeah, thank you so much. If you have a picture that you might share with me of a setup, I would love to share that on my social media, and let people know
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'll
what's
send you a picture
possible.
for sure.
Very
Yeah, I'll
cool.
definitely send you a picture.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
Well, thank you, Amy. I appreciate you having a conversation with me.
Anytime. Anytime.
Uh,
Take care.
all right.